All right, so we're back on the record after a break, which was longer than we anticipated. Mr. Dittman was not available, so until 2:20, and now we're going to have Mr. Fuchs testify instead right now. So, Mr. Fuchs, I appreciate you coming at a last minute's notice. And the complainant's next witness is it Larry or Lawrence Fuchs?
It's Larry Fuchs. Sounds like books, looks, cooks without the K.
Oh, without the K?
Yes, Fuchs.
Yes, but you pronounce it as though it's a K.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, with the understanding that false statements can be prosecuted for perjury?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you may restate your name and spell for the record, please.
Larry Fuchs, LarryFuchs.
All right, thank you. Begin your direct, Mr. Cross.
Thank you. Mr. Fuchs, do you work for the Department of Corrections?
Yes.
And what's your position currently?
Warden for the Columbia Correctional Institution.
Okay. And did you succeed Sue Novak in that position?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to that, do you know who Sue Novak is?
Yes.
Okay. What was your relationship to her in the hierarchy prior to that?
Oh, I don't remember the year, but I was a security director at the New Lisbon Correctional Institution. And during that period of time, Sue had come over and was a PREA investigator and handled a PREA case at New Lisbon.
Okay. And so I guess there is a escape that happened in 2020, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And how did you learn about that escape?
I had received a call from Stephanie Hovey, assistant administrator, early morning. To tell you the truth, I don't know the exact date. And she had stated that there was an escape from Columbia Correctional and that my assistance was needed at the facility.
Okay. Did she mention Secretary Carr at all in that phone call?
No.
Okay. So then how did you assist if at Columbia during the escape, if at all?
Came to the institution and was briefed by Captain Judd following the entry into the facility, following COVID protocols, at which time I then went to the warden's office to see what assistance could be provided. At that point in time, throughout the course of some discussion, I was made the point of contact between the facility and the EOC, having talked with the Dan Winkleski at the time, to allow the facility to be able to handle the operations at hand.
Okay, and you said you were the point of contact between the facility and the DOC. Does that mean management?
It's called the DOC EOC, as well as the administrator's office. Correct.
I understand that. Okay, so that would have included Secretary Carr?
I was not dealing directly with Mr. Carr at all.
Sure, but the people that you just named two organizations, right?
Correct. The DOC EOC, which is under the security chief supervision, and then my supervisor, Magda.
Okay. And what was her role at that time?
She was the DEI administrator.
Okay. So, and before you said that you were sent there by Miss Bovey, correct?
Correct.
What instructions, if any, did she give you?
To go to CCI to provide assistance.
Okay. So, are you aware of whether or not there was an investigation into the escape, subsequent to the escape?
Yes, I'm aware there was an investigation into the escape.
Okay. And are you aware of whether or not there was any disciplinary investigations into the escape?
I had heard that discipline was handed down. Yes.
Okay. How did you become aware of that?
Um, I don't remember exactly how that came about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you participate in the investigation into the escape?
the only, if you call it assistance, would have been providing documentation as requested by the Internal Affairs Department.
Okay. So let's focus on that participation in the investigation. Okay. What documents did you provide to Internal Affairs?
Well, I guess the first thing would be I provided them information about the stone fence, that there were no incident reports written regarding any issues with the fence. The only incident report that I could find was one that had dealt with a lightning strike to one of the towers. So I provided the information that no incident reports were written regarding the fence for their investigation.
So really you gave them documents and you gave them information, right?
Well, there were no documents to give because there wasn't any documents written about the fence being down or issues with the fence.
Okay, why were you looking for documents related to the fence?
Requested by the Internal Affairs Department, from what I believe.
Okay, who had Internal Affairs?
I believe it would have been through Christy Preston.
Okay, she's the head of Internal Affairs, right?
Correct.
Did you deal with anybody else there?
Not that I can remember. I believe the majority that I can remember, everything was through Christy Preston.
Okay, and you knew that when I asked you the question, right?
I knew
You
what
knew
is
that we were talking about Christy Preston when you said Internal Affairs, right?
Could you repeat that, please?
You knew that when I asked you, you gave an answer just now telling me that Internal Affairs was who you were going back and forth with, but you know that that was actually Christine Preston, right?
Christine Preston, yes. And I'm trying to remember if there were other investigators involved, but I cannot say for certain if there were or weren't. I just don't remember.
Okay. Why was Christy Preston asking you for information regarding the stun fence?
I guess speculating that probably because there was an issue with the fence.
Okay. And there is an issue with the fence, isn't there?
Yes.
Okay. When did you first learn that there was an issue with the fence, the stun fence at CCI?
During the following the escape.
That's you personally learned that, is that right?
I learned it when they requesting documentation to look into the fence.
Okay. And when did the Department of Corrections first become aware of the situation with the stun fence, if you know?
Objection, speculation.
You said if he knows. Do you know?
No.
No. Okay. Do you believe it was before or after you found out about the location of the stun fence?
Do I believe it was before or after I learned about the stun fence?
Right. Do you believe the Department of Corrections knew about the location of the stun fence before you knew about the location of the stun fence?
I'm gonna object again. He already testified he doesn't know.
Okay. So in your investigation into the stun fence, did you do anything else besides look for incident reports?
Regarding the stun fence, it was pretty much just related to the incident reports, correct?
Did you look at the stun fence?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so based on that observation, do you know what the status of the stun fence was at that time?
From what I recall, they stopped testing the stun fence because it didn't work.
Okay, and when did you learn that?
During the course of looking for incident reports during the investigation.
Okay, and when did they stop testing it?
I don't have that exact date they stopped, but I could ascertain that it was at least 6 months prior.
Okay. Now, did you investigate why they stopped testing it?
I did not.
Okay. Why not?
That was not my role.
How do you know that?
Because I was providing information to Internal Affairs as requested.
Did they tell you what to do?
They had requested information and I was there to provide them with that information.
Okay. Prior to you going to Columbia, did you ever work at any other institution?
Correct.
Okay. Have you ever worked at Racine?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever worked at the Walls?
Waupun Correctional Institution, yes.
How about Green Bay?
No.
Okay. Any other maximum security prisons that you worked at your time at the Department of Corrections?
No.
No. Okay. During those times, did you work at those institutions?
Yes.
Okay. While you worked at those institutions, did you ever observe the fence at those institutions?
Racine Correctional has a fence. Waupun Correctional has a wall.
Okay.
So while at Racine Correctional, yes, I did observe there is a fence.
Okay. And how about the location of the stun fence? Did you observe that?
Yes.
Okay. And did you notice any differences in between your observations in the stun fence at those institutions and the stun fence at CCI?
Yes.
Okay. And what were those differences?
That the stun fence at Racine Correctional Institution is placed on the innermost area that if a person in our care were to walk up to it, that would be the closest fence to them. The fence here at the Columbia Correctional is located as the second fence. You got the fence closest to the persons in our care, and then the stun fence is on the inside of that towards the outer perimeter.
What's the status of that fence at Columbia Correction Institution today?
We have started an upgrade. We've upgraded the tower touchscreens so that they alert when a section of the fence is activated. That device also works as a wellness check that goes off that they have to acknowledge as they work in the tower. The other enhancements that I did immediately following the escape, once I took over as warden, the containment fence, there's a containment fence that was raised and razor wire was put across the top of the area where they escaped, as well as between every housing unit and between our visiting area and our admin building. The fence was raised and or a razor wire was attached to the top. The next phase of the fence upgrade was to install a cement pad all the way around the inside of the existing most inner fence, so that the next part of the installation would be to then put that stun fence in that location. We just had a company here this week that is starting the next phase, which is to dig the trench between the fences to provide the fiber optics. And then July 1, we're scheduled to have Century Fence put the stun fence, install the stun fence.
Is Century Fence the contractor that installed the fence in the first place?
I do not know that for sure.
Okay. Do you know how the Department of Corrections is paying for these upgrades?
I do not.
Okay. Is it coming out of your budget?
No.
No. Okay. Is it who is directing the work?
Directing the work. Well, we have our building and grounds superintendent, Isaac, working with the powers that be, DOA, with they go through that whole bid process. They put together the specs. And we just had a pre-construction meeting a week or so ago with all the stakeholders, the two companies involved. And the name of the guy that's a project manager escapes me right now. Pete, I think it might be Pete, is the one that's the project manager.
Okay, but it's you're not the one who has caused the fence to be replaced, correct?
I'm not the one that's causing it to be.
I'll call it upgrades. You didn't cause these upgrades to happen, correct?
I actually did cause the upgrade to the containment area. I'm the one who notified the deficiency, requested that it be repaired, replaced, and enhanced.
Okay, so it's your testimony that you're the one who notified the Department of Corrections of the status of this fence?
Only of the containment fence. I asked for an upgrade as far as raising it and putting razor wire on it. I don't know beyond that what else is would
Okay. And that was your idea, is that right?
Well, that's the idea I proposed, yes. To enhance containment.
Who did you propose it to?
To the CMSD at the facility to see if we could get funding for it. Also, the building and ground superintendent, Jason Thompson, at the time. And then there's my expertise isn't in budgets or procurement, but the CMSD and the Jason Thompson, those are individuals that have the expertise in that area. And I believe there's things where if it's $5,000 or less, there's a separate pot of money. If it's over 5,000, there's another pot of money where you can get things like this accomplished.
Okay. And do you have control over that second pot of money?
I do not.
Object to relevance at this point in time.
Where are we going?
I thought we were almost done. His answer was he does not have control over this pot of money.
That's fine. I'll withdraw it. That's fine.
All right. Now, you're the warden there now, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware of any time in the past that there was ever a security audit into Columbia Correctional Facility?
Throughout the course of the investigation, I was made aware that there was an audit done. I believe an individual by the name of Mike Saunders, the security chief, had some hand in that. And I believe it was when Mike Dippin was the warden.
Okay. And is it your understanding that as part of that security audit, that the issue with the stun fence was reviewed?
Objection lacks personal knowledge.
Well, could he give the answer? Can we find out from the witness what kind of knowledge he has?
The issue is do you
He
know?
said he learned of it from the documents. so
Okay,
he clearly
stop.
doesn't.
Stop. Do you know or not?
I do now.
Yes or no?
I do now. It was throughout the course of the investigation that it was shed to light.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear your answer.
Throughout the course of the investigation, it was shed to light.
Okay. So, by the investigation, you mean the security audit?
No, the investigation that ensued after the escape.
Okay. Sorry, then what was shut down after the investigation?
What do you mean, what was shut down?
You said after the investigation, it was shut down. So I don't know what that means.
I don't even know what you're talking about. It was shut down. It was shed
Yeah,
to light.
understanding you then.
I said it was shed to light. I didn't say it was shut down.
Shed to light. Okay. And this is
One
what
second,
was shed-
Mr. Dittman, I think, is on the telephone. Can
Great.
you let him know we'll call him when we're done with Mr. Fuchs?
Okay.
Or is that Fuchs? Yes, we're with Mr. Fuchs.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I've made arrangements to have them contacted. So, okay. Now, also, during the course of this investigation, you learned that there was a Department of Corrections employee that was alleged to have assisted in the escape, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you learn in the course of this investigation whether or not the warden at Columbia had been aware of any issue with that employee prior to the escape?
I have no idea.
And that's and I guess why I'm surprised is you participated in an investigation into the escape, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you investigate the participation, the alleged participation of a DOC kitchen worker into the escape?
I didn't interview anybody. I was there to assist, to get documents. I wasn't involved in any questioning of any of the people involved in the entire investigation.
Okay, so your role was only confined to getting these documents for Miss Christie, or did I? Is that her first name? Did I?
Chrissy Preston.
Chrissy Preston. Thank you. And so all you were doing was getting information on behalf of Miss Preston. Is that right?
Basically correct. Yes.
Okay. Then how did you become the warden of Columbia Correctional Institution?
I was a security chief down in Madison. There was a time when they were going to move some wardens from institution to institution. They had called me into a meeting and stated that they wanted to place me at Columbia Correctional. In fact, I was supposed to start the week that the escape took place. Due to COVID, that was delayed.
Okay, you said they called you, and who was they?
My supervisor, Magda, the assistant administrator, Hove, and assistant administrator, Doug Percy.
Okay. Did you have a separate conversation with Mr. Percy?
He was my supervisor, one of my supervisors at the time. I don't remember. We had numerous conversations. So I don't know exactly what you're referring to.
Okay. Well, we're just talking about how you became the warden at Columbia Correctional Facility.
Correct.
Right. So was that a group call? How did this happen?
I was in Magda's office with Stephanie Hove and Doug Percy present, and they told me that I was being named, they wanted me to be the warden of Columbia Correctional.
They say why?
They said because I was doing a great job in the position I was in. And they were going to be moving other wardens around. They didn't elaborate as to why other wardens were being moved or where they were being moved, just that I would be placed at Columbia Correctional Institution.
Okay. Did you discuss with them, Mac, the issue of the fence during that meeting?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I had no knowledge of it.
Well, when did you get the information for Chrissy Preston, before or after you were named warden?
I was supposed to be the interim warden the week of the escape. Because of COVID, it got pushed back. I was interim warden. I'd have to look at the date. Don't know the date, but it was after, sometime after Sue left.
Okay, can you answer my question?
Sure. What was it again?
So my question was, did you get the information for Christy before or after you were promoted to warden at Columbia Correction?
I promoted to warden on May 19th, 2020. So it would have been, I was promoted after.
Okay,
But the decision to make me the warden was done months before the escape.
right, because there was an initial announcement in which Sue Novak and others were assigned to different wardenships throughout the state, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about with the initial meeting to send you to Columbia Correction was, correct?
Right.
Right,
Correct.
okay, but that didn't happen, right?
Nope. It got delayed because of COVID is what I was told.